Hey guys, it's Eric here at Peachtree Classic Cars with a 1952 Ford F1 short bed truck. It's on a key start now with a rebuilt engine, and we're going to take this thing for a spin. That was my fault. The guy who built this truck went through the mechanics of it. Rebuilt the engine a couple years ago. Transmission's got a new clutch. Speedometer works. Not sure that the other original gauges work, but the speedometer does. I always put my finger up here to show you if there's any wander in the steering. Kind of like see how much it is. Right about there, so about that much. Steers pretty straight, especially for an old truck. These brakes have been serviced and they stop nice and straight as well. This guy went through and put aftermarket gauges underneath. They're a little bit more accurate, of course, than the originals. And just had it out of the shop for just a few minutes, so it's not even hardly warmed up yet. And as I let off that gas, you can hear that window rattling just a little bit. Let's see if I got that. Oh, there we go. You know how those door handles can be. Let's see if we can do this with one hand. I think we can. There we go. Got it with one hand. A good sounding little flathead V8. I think a touch of a squeak maybe out of one of the water pumps. Actually, I think that squeak might be in the generator. You kind of see that. But just a good, healthy sounding engine overall. I'm gonna shut her off, and we will take a better look around the truck here. This is a really cool truck. I love when I get a shop, kind of like, we call this a shop truck. Most guys call this a shop truck. Some guys might call it, it's on its way to being a rat rod. These inner fender wells have got surface rust, but they're solid and no rust holes, including the firewall. Other side of the fender well. Hood's in good shape. Got one little rust hole right there. Actually, now that I say that, that's not a rust hole. That's a factory hole there. So, for as patinaed as this looks, the actual amount of hard rust on it or rust holes on it is pretty minimal, which is what I think is really cool about the truck. It's got a couple of rust spots, and if this was my truck, personally, I don't think I'd do anything to the body. I might try and straighten out this step side over here, but man, these things are just so freaking cool the way they are. Okay, I'm not into these. I'm not into those. Some old guys like to put those on because they want to be seen. But it's got brand new tail lights. They work. Even the turn signals work. We just tested them right before we pulled it out of the shop. It's got a new set of wheels on it with a little bit of an offset on the tires. Tires a little bit bigger in the front than the rear. I mean the rear than the front. Beauty rings and hubcaps look sharp. Because of the difference in the width of the wheels, they are actually a little bit different. The caps on the front and the rear, if you look closely, are actually not matching. The two on the front match and the two on the rear match. I just love these eyelids. They're so cool. Overall, the front bumper's pretty straight. Got a little bend right there in that spot. But I mean, this is a shop truck, a rat rod. So let me get close up to it and show you the couple of rust spots that are on it. There's a rust spot here, a little Bondo popping up there. And I think if this was my truck, I think what I'd do is, you know, I'd grind some of that out. I'd leave that and let it rust back up and leave a patina on it. Everybody's a little bit different. Here's a nice thing. If we get real close, I've restored a couple of these. This line right here is what always scares me. And believe it or not, that line actually looks good. It's right above it. It's right above it. That's rusted, so you're not having to worry about that line, that crease, that seam. Even underneath, the rockers look good. It's the original cab corner, actually looks really good. This is a common rust spot here, and you can see actually an old piece of wood inside there. And then it's got this really old, a long time ago, somebody put like a steel plate back here. Who knows, probably back in the 60s or something. I mean, it looks very, very old. So that one rust spot there, again, if it was my truck, I'd probably grind that and let it rust back up just to give it that, just to stick with the patina. Sides of the bed are pretty straight overall, and even the fenders are pretty straight. Little dent here, surface rust on that spot. I'd definitely take those. If I would have seen that before we pulled out of the shop, I would have paid better attention. I probably would have pulled those already off, but they're still there. No big deal. Takes a few minutes to pull them off. Sides of the bed over here as well, try and let the camera adjust, are actually pretty smooth. Same thing as the other side, a little rust there on that as well, and you can see the original wood. This fender is straight and solid. Cab corners are solid. This is the miracle to me. I want to try to get the camera way up under there and show you. These are the original cab corners. They've never been cut, and these are the original rockers. They're in awesome condition. So for the four spots of rust, these two on this side, and then got a little spot here, and then 4 spots of quote unquote major body rust. Like I said, depending on the way that you look at it, and I'm not trying to sound like a salesman, I try to be really careful because that's not my heart. I really love these old things, and this is just a kick-ass old jalopy that, to me, you know, like I said, the previous owner rebuilt the engine, the transmission, all that. The drivetrain's ready to go. This thing runs down the road and drives down the road awesome. These wheels really set this truck off, and it's got a killer patina on it. So the glass is in good shape. I'm gonna call it good original condition. And even when I turned, when the engine was running earlier, I turned the button, and the wipers were actually starting to try to move, which tells me, you know, maybe just a little bit of new piping or hoses, and that could be working again. I would always switch these over to electric if you want the wipers to work. Personally, we don't drive trucks like this when it rains usually, and we use Rain-X. So you heard this window rattling earlier. The windows are a little sticky when we go to roll them up. You can hear that. So going through the regulators and greasing them up would be good. The glass is in good shape. And this one's got a little crack there, you can see some bubbling. Old door panel, but still in really good shape. And I think if it was me, I might actually just take a can of vinyl dye to that, or, you know, order some new ones. It's got a brand new headliner. And we actually put this in, it came with the truck when we got it, but this one piece is missing. Perturbed me a little bit. I could not find this in the box, and I'd probably have to call Dennis Carpenter and ask him. So this piece from here to here is missing. This piece is brand new back here. It's got a brand new tank and a brand new seat cover. It's the first time I've actually just taken this drive to do this video. It's the first time I've sat on this seat. We just bolted it in. So it's brand new vinyl seat from LMC Truck, including a brand new rubber floor mat. That's the first time I've ever put my feet on it to drive the truck. Original dash in here, and you saw that the speedometer works. Aftermarket gauges work underneath, and it's not hard to buy a rebuild kit if you want the original gauges to work, to get them to work. I love this old radio. I buy a lot of these trucks, and I don't see an original radio in the glove box very often. The title to the truck, we actually have the original title to the truck. I actually chose to register the truck in Georgia, 1962, and all the vehicles don't have titles, but since I had the title from South Carolina, I kept it, and it is registered to this VIN number that's inside the door. So that's the vehicle reference number for that is the glove box. So nice solid floor pan. We just, like I said, put this in a couple of little tiny pinholes here and there. There's a couple there, but overall it's a good solid floor pan. Inside fender wells, we'll go real quick. Be careful not to take too long on the video, because I just want to show that, you know, in spite of the fact that there are those couple of spots on the outside of the body, this is actually a pretty solid truck. And this is one of those ones that if I was going after body work on it, I'm trying to get my camera way in there and let it adjust so you can see these inner fender wells are completely rust-free. On the passenger side, we'll go around to the driver's side. Again, Trying to let that camera adjust. Takes just a second. There we go. Even down towards the bottom where they usually rest, like right there. I'm getting the camera a little sideways, waiting for it to adjust. There you go. Look how solid that is. And the front fender well here. Same thing. I need to buy a smaller camera so I can stick it up in there. I mean, this thing's amazing. A couple of little rust holes down there at the very bottom of that fender, which I showed you here on the outside. Right there. So, showed you already, bottoms of the doors are super solid. Those are the original cab corners. Look on the inside. That's undercoating right there, crusting off. Then there's no holes in that cab corner. That's unbelievable. Same thing underneath here. These are the original floor pans. Take a look at these. Surface rust. Those are the original floor pans. They look awesome. New exhaust, dual exhaust going out the back. Solid frame. Step ups are good actually too under here. The usual spots where they rest is these channels. Solid on this side. Holy crap, it's hot out here. It's about 96 degrees in Atlanta today. I'm doing this video laying on the concrete. Man, I love this truck. Now, the more that even when I watch these videos, seriously, not watch these videos, as I film these videos, sometimes some of these vehicles, I just fall more in love. Holy crap, this is burning my back. Same thing as the other side. Look at that cab corner. Holy guacamole. That is a clean cab corner. Even the inside, that's original. Never been molested, never been cut. Okay, I gotta get off this floor, this ground. Okay, those two tiny little holes I pointed to just a second ago under that rubber floor mat, that's them right there. Other than that, look at this. If this was my truck, I wouldn't do much to it but drive it and enjoy it. Window regulators could stand to be greased up, and this passenger side door handle is a little loose. Take the panel off and tighten it up and stuff like that. But man, what a cool truck. I mean, this thing's so cool. The lights work, the brake lights work, the turn signals work. The brakes have been serviced, they stop good. This one's really ready to drive just the way it is. Or do whatever you want to with it, but boy, I sure wouldn't do much but drive it and enjoy it. 1952 Ford F1 short bed truck, PeachTreeClassicCars.com. This is the last year of the F1.